Welcome to South Central Pennsylvania in December 2020. Yeah, we got snowed on. Since it's a cold, snowy day in December, let's go work in the brew house. Come on. I think what I'd like to do is do some work on the Keezer. Why don't you join me? Happy Homebrew Wednesday, everybody. Sjporr here in Brew House, Little Face Brewing. We're going to do a little bit of a project today. This is the old Keezer that I used to charge kegs up in the garage for a couple years. Built this collar, works pretty good. When I build my collars for Keezers, I like to do it in a manner that it does not destroy the Keezer. A lot of folks will take these and they'll glue onto the tops. They'll glue their collar onto the Keezer. Don't do that. You don't need to. Build yourself a collar that fits the top, right? So you build yourself a box, and then put a collar on the bottom of that box that slides over the outside of the Keezer. And you get a real nice, tight fit like this. And if for some reason you want to turn this back into a freezer, well, it's pretty simple. You just take the hinges off the back, mount them back to the freezer, and poof, you're off to the races. These are nice long shanks so that they'll be able to go through the collar with no problem. I've already drilled this board. This board will sit inside here. Boom, like so. We're going to drill the 3 holes on the outside here, and we're going to put our taps through. The idea of doing this is so that I don't have to use a party tap anymore out here. Not that there's anything wrong with the party tap. Oh, that's a cloudy one. So you might as well have a homebrew while we're at it, right? Just. Oh. So I'm going to be using my 1-inch hole saw. I've already went ahead and marked where I want to put my holes. And the idea is I want to keep them away from where the kegs are sitting, so that I'm not going to have to struggle past, any of these in order to get it out. I got my 3 holes through the outer board, and now I'm going to go the whole way through. I was going to try and take this out, but I'm afraid I'll break it if I do. So this is plenty long enough. We're just going to bore the whole way through it. Just like that. Very easy. Got the 3 holes through the front and the whole way through the back. So we can go ahead and run those through. 2 and 3. Now, if I did this all right, everything should line up here on the back. And it does. Very nice. There we go. That's what they look like through. So I'm going to go ahead and tape these and get my beer lines ready. So I use Teflon tape because, these got the the rubber gasket inside. You can see right there, and that goes flush up against the front of the the back side of the shank. And it does do a seal. There's been times though where I still got a little bit of leakage around the outside of them over the years. So ever since I started putting Teflon tape on them, I've not had that issue. So I'm just going with experience. Whether I'm right, whether I'm wrong, as long as it doesn't leak, that is really all that matters. Now I got all 3 of my nipples on the end of the shanks. It's time to cut some draft line and get it on there. I am using, this is 3/16 ID and 7/16 OD. So this is PVC food tubing. Yeah, so this is what I typically use. And it just came today. What I use is actually my wingspan. I'm a pretty big dude. So I usually do my wingspan. And cut. That's 2 and 3. And I still have a hunk left in case I need it for something else. But what I'm going to do here with these guys is actually, I'm going to put them in my little bucket of cleaner over here to get any manufacturing oils or anything that they may have used in the manufacturing of this hose, so that I don't have any weird off flavors coming from the hose. And it's just good to be clean. So I've got all my tap heads. As you can see, I took them off. Everything is soaking in PBW right now, and including my connectors. Alright, so this is something I'm not so sure everybody knows about or not, but your connectors to your kegs can and should be torn apart periodically. And this is a good example. So what you want to look for is that little gasket to make sure it's in good condition. These have been an old set of mine that I have been sitting around in a bucket for probably 2 years. So I'm like, well, I better tear these apart just to make sure they're clean, because I don't want to run, you know, any beer through something that's gross. And there's a little bit of residue on the spring and on the top piece. So this goes in just like so. This, you want to look at that O-ring right there, and you want to look at your plastic piece and your spring. So that goes down in there. This goes on top of that, and then your gasket sits right on that deal, and then that goes in there, and that screws on. You don't go real tight with it, but that way you know how to tear these apart. And they, like I said, they should be torn apart often and cleaned up. Like these are pretty dirty. So there's a tip. So we got all 3 of the lines are hooked up on the inside. All 3 lines are hooked up. Looks good. Got Teflon tape. Got hose clamps. All the barbs are good. Connectors are good. All of my tabs are apart and they've been cleaned. And yeah, they were dirty. Even after just sitting, they were dirty. So that's not supposed to have that tint. Everything will be nice and clean. One of the things I highly suggest is to get yourself a, I have all of my tap cleaning tools on a ring here. This, I can clean the outsides of them. This, of course, is the tap wrench. This little brush works beautifully for getting up inside the breather hole here, because there's a little breather hole here, and that goes right in there. Cleans that up real nice. This one here gets into smaller holes, and then this one here cleans all the bigger holes. So I run her in and out, nice and clean. And then now, these can just hang right there on the Keezer. Now it's the moment of truth. Look at that. Looky there. Boom. A nice hoppy saison out of a Keezer. Yeah, pretty happy with that. Nice, clean, clear coming through. So I'll be hooking a stout up next, because there's a stout in here I'll put in the middle. And then one of these two IPAs will go out here too. So there you have it. That's how you basically put taps on a Keezer. 3 on tap. This is Sjporr in the brew house of Little Face Brewing. Enjoy the fruits of your labor, folks. Brew beer. Brew wonderful beer. Cheers. Oh, yeah. This is going to be good.